Okay, so we're going for the gusto. We're going for it because we're here, is what I was just told. Even if it's unnerving, even if it's a lot bit awkward to be on this side of the table answering the questions rather than creating a dialogue.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
And so we're going to continue with Suzan Hart leading the interrogation.
Oh, it's not an interrogation.
That's what it feels like to me. I can use whatever word I want.
Yes, you
And
could.
so we are honored, though, that we still, for over 35 years, we've been able to do this. We've been able to not only help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate, making sound decisions, but really 35 years, we've been able to build some fun, build some faith, build some finances, and even strengthen, heal, and flourish inside relationship. And that's really what this is even evidence of, this crazy show. So we're going to continue to let Suzan all month long, not just on this first week of the month, but all month in May, in one form or another, in the direction that she wants us to go. For you. I mean, it's curated for you by her because she too is a client. She too is a listener. And so she thought, what do I want to know? What would I want to know? So therefore, what might you want to know? So let's continue the discovery.
Well, I want to put that in context because one of the beautiful things is I get to sit down with you guys for hours and we have the most provocative, interesting conversations where we stretch, we learn, we grow. And so for me, the privilege to even put a piece of that out there for everyone to listen and learn from is a gift. So I'm honored to sit down and chat with you some more. The question I want to really dig into right now is you guys, 30 years of experience.
Over 35.
Over 35, right?
I mean, I'm only 34 in my head. So I don't know how I've been in the industry longer than I've been alive.
Some things are magic, Yetta.
I guess it's magic.
So what has changed and what has stayed the same?
Real estate being something everybody needs to live in. Somebody needs a roof over their head. Everybody needs a roof over their head. That was true in the 80s when we started our real estate journey. And that was true when we started our real estate professional journey in the late 80s. And it's been true for the last 35 plus years. And it's going to continue to be true that we still need somewhere to sleep at night. And for most people, that involves real estate.
And you know what else is true? And it's been true since your parents bought a house and probably the grandparents bought a house. And that is, yes, you need a place to live, but also that's a wealth building tool.
Yeah.
Over the decades, you pay down the mortgage, the property goes up in value historically, and
over time it does.
Yeah.
Right? Even if there's blips in the market.
Yeah. Like we can't predict the future, but that being said, history is one of the great ways to predict the future. And historically, it's had ups and downs. But if you go back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 50 years, real estate has increased in value. And you've paid down your own mortgage instead of paying someone else's mortgage down when you're renting. So to me, that fundamental hasn't changed in the 35 years.
Right. And what hasn't changed is that whether you're paying somebody's rent, whether you're paying rent, somebody else's mortgage, or you're paying your own, you're really paying for a house.
Absolutely.
It's just the question I ask often is whose?
You know, it brings me back to the opening show where you said we are all in real estate. And I remember that from in my 20s, it was I'm going to own a house, and I was renting at that point, so I was still contributing to someone else's real estate, but it was always there in the back of my mind. So it doesn't go anywhere. You're right.
Yeah, the things, there's something that's changed and hasn't changed, and that is the amount of information available has changed significantly. Like we used to have the little phone book that had black and white photos, and
one by one thumbnail.
We had all the information, right? And the consumer didn't. Now the consumer's got a lot of information. I was going to say almost as much as we do, not quite. We've got access to some secret stuff, the secret sauce. But they can find sold prices. They can find how many days on the market. They can find the address and lots of pictures and photos. But what hasn't changed is it takes a professional to disseminate that information and make it understandable based on one property that they're thinking of buying and at what price and under what terms. And that's where the professional still needs to be there and has always been there. That hasn't changed.
Well, I think also there's such the value in the experience of it. So I can read as much information as I want, but the reality is I don't have that lived experience. And lived experience teaches you about the crack in the foundation and teaches you about all the different things. So that is going to be a constant. I will not, as a consumer who's bought a home, 2 homes, have that experience.
10 homes. It doesn't even matter if you've had 20 homes. There's still that need for someone to interpret what the information means.
Yeah. Okay.
Interpretation of the information that you can trust on that isn't slanted. I mean, we all have biases of some sort, but is not needlessly biased or centered on the professional themselves, but rather centered on the client. So the need for that has not changed.
Yeah. And the other thing that hasn't changed is a buying decision is an emotional decision.
Oh, yes.
There is emotion behind that. I don't care how much information you're getting. It takes emotion to make the decision to buy
act.
Or to sell.
Right.
It takes a different layer of understanding of what's behind that. And that's one of the things that hasn't changed is we spend a lot of time understanding our client, their goals, their wishes, their values, so that we can align our guidance to that.
I've lived that with you. And I remember when we sat down, I said, my fear is going to get in my way. I'm a single person. I'm buying another property. My fear is going to get in the way. And you guys were very present to that. So I would get those gentle nudges, and I would actually notice, particularly with you, Ken, your tone would change just a little bit because it was you were navigating my fear without pushing me. And that was just a beautiful experience. So yeah, it's a very emotional. And another eye or someone with experience just helps you move through that for sure.
The other thing that's changed is technology. Like the way we market a property has significantly changed. We used to be able to show you, here's the print ad we did, and here's this, and here's the brochure, and here's that. And it's now 99.9% electronic.
Yeah.
And it's how the SEO works and how the different things are working and how many websites we can get your property out on. And it's much harder to show you that we're actually doing something behind the scenes. So that's changed.
And how does that engage? Like I know one of your values is connection. How does that change that?
Well, it's now intentional and deliberate to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
It's like the phone is not our enemy. The phone is our friend. And so there's more coordination to have the phone call and make it happen.
Yeah. So we're glad that you've joined us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward